So good. You're doing so good.
I just want to say, everyone will suffer. Do you remember worried?
Something after party along.
Big news just dropped tonight, and it's making waves. The FBI has revealed some explosive details, and guess whose names are in the mix? Diddy and Ashton Kutcher. According to reports, the two allegedly manipulated actress Daveigh Chase, yes, Samara from The Ring, into shady dealings behind the scenes for their infamous freak-off parties. The details are messy, the connections are wild, and trust me, you're not ready for what's next. So, let's rewind a bit and talk about Daveigh Chase. Born on July 24, 1990, in Las Vegas, she was practically destined for stardom. She grew up in Oregon, and even as a kid, she had that performer vibe. By the age of 7, she was already auditioning, showing a natural...
What are we gonna do?
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 But Daveigh's talent and ambition were undeniable. She started with commercials and local theater gigs before breaking into the big leagues. When she began auditioning in Los Angeles, things moved fast. It wasn't long before she landed her first major roles in voice acting. And get this, she's the voice of Lilo from Lilo and Stitch. That's right, she was a huge deal back in the day. If social media had been as big then as it is now, Daveigh Chase's name would probably still be trending. Daveigh Chase's career wasn't just about animation. This girl had range. She made her mark in TV classics like Charmed and ER, proving she could shine in live-action roles too. But her breakout big-screen moment came in 2001 with Donnie Darko, where she played Samantha Darko. That film became a cult classic, and her role solidified her place in Hollywood. She even reprised the role in a 2009 sequel. But before we dive into that, let's talk about her game-changing moment in 2002, her haunting performance as Samara in The Ring. At just 12 years old, she became an icon in horror cinema. Her chilling portrayal left audiences spooked and little kids hiding under their covers guilty. It's hard to think about early 2000s scary movies without picturing her eerie character crawling out of that TV. Over the years, Daveigh kept switching it up. She tackled all kinds of roles and even dabbled in music. She was on the path to becoming a Hollywood powerhouse. In 2009, she returned to the Donnie Darko world, but things got quiet after that. She didn't reappear until 2016 in American Romance, a low-budget thriller about a serial killer. Unfortunately, critics weren't impressed, calling the film dull and gross. It ended up being her last major leading role, leaving fans to wonder if she had quietly stepped away from Hollywood. Honestly, making it as far as she did, especially after starting as a child star, is already an impressive feat. Many don't get that far. But now, years later, Daveigh's name is back in the headlines, and not for the best reasons. A video has resurfaced from the 2003 MTV Movie Awards that's raising eyebrows. In the clip, Diddy is seen inviting 13-year-old Daveigh to an after-party. And let's be real, when you hear Diddy and party in the same sentence, it's hard not to think about his infamous events. In the video, Diddy casually approaches Daveigh after she wins Best Villain for The Ring and asks if she wants to join the party. At first glance, it might seem harmless, like he's just being playful. But knowing what we do now about the allegations surrounding Diddy and his notorious parties, the clip has taken on a much darker tone. Social media is buzzing with outrage, and people are questioning why a grown man would be inviting a literal child to an after-party. Recent revelations about Diddy, including allegations that he assaulted a 13-year-old girl just 3 years before a now resurfaced event, have cast everything in a much darker light. The situation raises serious questions, especially about Daveigh Chase, who was allegedly invited to one of his infamous after-parties as a child. If she did attend, what could have possibly gone down? The entire scenario is deeply unsettling. With lawsuits against Diddy stacking up, this old video of him inviting a young Daveigh to a party has sparked outrage online. Social media is flooded with comments calling the interaction sick and gross. Many are asking the obvious question, why would a grown man be excited about having a 13-year-old at an after-party? One commenter summed it up, saying, WTF? Who asks a literal child to an after-party? Others have pointed out that Ashton Kutcher, who is in the video, has also always given them weird vibes as someone who appears clean-cut but might have a dark side. Daveigh was incredibly talented, with an impressive career as a child actress, and people now hope she was protected from any harm that could have happened that night. As an adult, she's stayed silent about her experiences with Diddy and this particular incident. But the creepy nature of that invite has sparked a broader discussion about Hollywood's party culture, especially how young stars were treated back in the day. Hollywood parties have long been known to blur boundaries. We've seen events where minors show up, often with their parents in tow. Even then, the whole situation feels uncomfortable, like, why are kids even there? Now imagine a Hollywood party where some parents are...
is in Liz McGuire. She also has an album out. She's going to be in a movie called Cheaper by the Dozen. And she's one of the girls that we're all waiting for to turn
spaces alone. That's exactly the vibe this Diddy video gives. It's disturbing to think this all happened so publicly, yet no one raised an eyebrow at the time. Knowing what we do now about Diddy's alleged behavior, the outrage makes perfect sense. These parties, shrouded in secrecy, with guests signing NDAs prohibiting them from speaking for decades, raise countless questions. What exactly was happening that required such extreme measures to keep quiet? Ashton Kutcher's involvement has also come under scrutiny. In a resurfaced interview, he hyped up Diddy's parties as the best he'd ever attended, though he stayed cryptic about the details. Combine that with Ashton's messy past, including questionable comments about underage stars, and people are now saying he deserves to be investigated, too. The flood of lawsuits and the revelations about Hollywood's darker side have left people furious. They're not just questioning Diddy's actions, but also the enablers who stood by silently. It's clear there's a lot more to uncover in these deeply troubling stories. People are revisiting some troubling moments from Ashton Kutcher's past, starting with when he was 19 and kissed a 14-year-old co-star on set without her consent, reportedly because Danny Masterson bet him $20 to do it. Then there's that unsettling old clip where Ashton talked about waiting for Hilary Duff and the Olsen twins to turn 18, mentioning them in a way that now feels completely inappropriate. Fast forward, and Ashton's name is being connected to another story involving Diddy allegedly inviting a 12-year-old, Daveigh Chase, to his infamous parties. While the link seems tenuous, it's drawn a lot of attention. Speaking of Daveigh Chase, her own story is heartbreaking. After her career slowed down following her role in American Romance, a major flop, her life took a dark turn. By 2017, she was arrested for drug possession, hinting at deeper struggles. That November, she was questioned about a man's death, though she wasn't charged. Around the same time, she was arrested for an unrelated warrant. Daveigh's story shines a harsh light on what happens to young stars when the industry chews them up and spits them out. She worked nonstop as a kid, and when the roles dried up, it seems like she was left to navigate adulthood without a support system. Addiction played a major role in her struggles, and it's clear she needed rehab and help, not just jail time. Since 2017, Daveigh has disappeared from the public eye. Her social media has been silent, and there haven't been any sightings or updates. It's like she vanished, leaving people wondering where she is and how she's doing. Her story is a sad reminder of how dangerous fame can be for child actors. Hollywood often fails to protect young performers, and when the spotlight fades, they're left to pick up the pieces alone. Daveigh's situation shows just how brutal and unforgiving that cycle can be. Lately, there's been a lot of buzz about her situation, but it's all talk with no follow-up. The latest clip of her was heartbreaking. She clearly didn't want to be filmed, and it's obvious she's not in a good place. People really need to respect boundaries, especially when someone is visibly struggling. Her story is a tough reminder of how fame, especially as a child star, can take a toll. Imagine growing up without normal school, real friendships, or time to discover who you are outside of the spotlight. That kind of pressure can seriously disrupt personal growth. When the fame fades, it leaves some stars unprepared to handle life, and addiction becomes an even bigger challenge. If she ever chose to share her story, it could be incredibly powerful. Her perspective would shed light on so much. For now, we can only hope she's safe and finds her way to healing. Meanwhile, Diddy and Ashton Kutcher are both under fire, but Diddy's situation is on another level. Ashton is facing backlash for old interviews, including one where he praised Diddy's legendary parties, hinting at their wild nature without going into detail. Compared to Diddy's legal issues, though, Ashton's controversies seem minor. Diddy is facing a wave of lawsuits and allegations, from claims of abuse to stories about his infamous parties, shrouded in secrecy thanks to strict NDAs. This isn't just bad PR, this is a legal crisis that threatens to destroy his reputation, career, and possibly his freedom. If any of these allegations are proven true,